Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today you're a candidate competing to be the next President of the United States. You'll need to secure enough state delegate votes to win the election, but to get there you need to defend yourself against mudslinging candidates, win debates, court the media, scandalize other players, and call in political favors. Spin Doctors for 2 to 6 players plays in 30 to 60 minutes for ages 12 and up and published by Neddy Games. Today we'll be doing a rule school. Well, I'll teach you how to set up the play of the game so that you don't have to read the rulebook yourself. Now, I've placed timestamps below me in the description of this video just in case you want to jump to a specific section of the rules. Without further ado, let's get started. Do you have what it takes to become the next president? Destroying your opponents on the debate stage, spreading rumors about the other candidates while avoiding scandals yourself, courting the media to ignore bad news, taking polls, and trading secrets to get a leg up on the competition. What won't you do to win the White House? It's all just politics, and politics are dirty. Spin Doctor has all of the 50 states plus Washington, D.C. with the official electoral vote values that the candidates need to win. The objective is simple: win the election by winning a majority of electoral votes. Achieving that objective may not be as simple as it seems. As the game progresses, gain the support of states. Candidates can decide how they want to hit the campaign trail: hard and fast to quickly collect a lot of somewhat loyal states, or focus on key states that you want to make sure will stay with you. Other candidates steal the support of your states through superior debating, or by becoming the official nominee of one of the national parties, which will move cards into their state pool, but not if they are protected. Is someone getting too powerful? Mire them in a scandal or two to slow them down. Until that player can get out from underneath that scandal, they can't get more states, win the nomination of a party, or call for the election. They will need to spin their way out of their troubles by being a Spin Doctor expert, exploiting your media connections, or having a good public relations team that keeps scandals from ever taking hold. Once you're no longer scandalized, you're free to continue your path towards election victory. But not all scandals are in the public eye. Having dark secrets or skeletons in the closet could destroy your chances of winning. These cards cannot be played or discarded and have devastating impacts to your vote counts if you're holding them come election day. But all is not lost. There are several ways to switch cards with other players by spreading rumors, taking a poll, or trading secrets. Each of these provide a way to move cards from your hand and take cards from other players, and can be played by players even under scandals. But now it's election day. Count the votes and determine the winner. To set up, you're going to take the entire deck of cards. You're going to shuffle them into one big stack like this. You're then going to deal out 6 cards face down to each candidate. Each player can take their cards into their hand. They are secret, meaning they don't ever show them to any of their opponents. The rest of the cards are in a stack in the middle of the table. This is known as the election stack. This is where players will be drawing cards from for the rest of the game. The object of the game is to have 270 votes to win the game. Now you'll be doing this by playing cards of states that show their electoral vote counts, and you're trying to get to 270 to win the game. Keep in mind, to get to 270 will likely take multiple rounds. Starting with the candidate to the dealer's left, each player will take a turn in clockwise manner, and this will continue until the round ends. Turns are very simple. First, you're going to draw a card from the election deck and add it to your hand. Next, you'll choose a card from your hand and you'll play it, and you'll perform any action that this card has, if any. This is a state card. At the end of the round, it will give you a certain amount of electoral votes if it's still face up in front of you. And a face up state card in front of you is known as a tabled card. And remember, these are essentially points, and these are the cards that you're trying to get in front of you to try to not only get the most electoral votes for the round, but trying to get to that 270 to win the game. After you've played a card and performed the action, if any, it goes to the next player's turn to the left. In the rare case that you can't play a card, you simply discard one from your hand face up next to the election stack. Now that you know how the turn structure works, I'm going to show you what all the different cards do. If you play the Win Debate card, you place it face up in the discard pile next to the election stack. And when you play that Win Debate card, you get to select any opponent's highest valued state card. If there's a tie for their highest valued, you can choose which one. So let's say this is us, we played this card. Let's say we want to take Massachusetts because it's tied for the highest here. We would put it like this in our state pile. Now these have to be unprotected, meaning there's no cards protecting those. So let's talk about how you protect these cards from keeping people from grabbing them from you. Now keep in mind, you're only playing one card on your turn, but I'm running through all the different cards now. So if you play the In the Bag card, this helps protect one of your cards. You place it over one of your state cards that's already tabled, and you leave it so that the value can still be seen. This protects this card from being taken, just like we showed you in the Win Debate card. When you play the Landslide Victory card, it can protect up to 3 of your state cards like this, making sure you can still see the values. It can protect less than 3, but any more than 3 is still unprotected like this. If when you played the Landslide Victory card, if you had less than 3 total tabled state cards, when you add another one, it cannot be placed directly under the Landslide Victory card. Now that you know about tabled and protected and unprotected cards, let's talk about the nominees. If you play either the Democratic nominee card or the Republican nominee card, this is a huge boost for you trying to win the election. This allows you to take one tabled unprotected card from each of the other candidates. In this case, we have 2 other players here that have tabled cards. We can take Georgia here, which is 16, and put it with us right here. Now we can't take the Wisconsin 10 because it's protected, as earlier talked about, so we could take the Arkansas 1 and put it here. Now these nominee cards stay there till the end of the round when the election is called. Now you can never have both the Republican and Democratic nominee cards. And if you don't have either of those cards, you can play the Independent Candidate card. This allows you to remove one tabled protection card, like the In the Bag or the Landslide Victory, from each candidate. So every candidate, if they have any one of those protection cards, you can take one of them and place it in the discard pile, and now those cards are free for all people to try to steal. So keep in mind those nominee cards and the independent candidate cards are played with your tabled states, and you can never have any more than one of those 3 cards that we just spoke about. Now, just like real life, a scandal can destroy a candidate's chances for election if not handled quickly, and there's 4 different types of scandal cards: dirty tricks, broken promises, misplaced funds, and caught with your pants down. Now, when you play a scandal card, you place it in front of another candidate in front of them, just like this. Now, a player can have multiple scandals in front of them, but they can never have 2 of the same exact type of scandal. So in this case, let's say they have a second scandal there, dirty tricks. A scandalized player will still draw a card from the election stack at the beginning of their turn. However, their options are severely limited. For example, they can no longer table a state in front of them to earn those votes at the end of the round. They can no longer protect any cards using any protection cards. They cannot win debates. Of course, this allows you to discard this and steal cards from another player. You cannot become a nominee of any type, and you cannot play the election day card, which we haven't talked about yet, but this is how the round will end. However, there are ways to protect yourselves and remove scandals. For example, if on your turn you play this card, which is Good Public Relations, it's for dirty tricks. There's one of these Good Public Relations for every scandal type. Once this is played, a player cannot play a dirty trick scandal because the Good Public Relations card of that type is already tabled. These Good Public Relations cards stay in front of you until the election's called at the end of the round. But let's say you hadn't played any Good Public Relations cards yet, and you have 2 scandals. If you then play a Good Public Relations card that has to do with a scandal you already have, you can simply discard that scandal, leaving that Good Public Relations card there, protecting you from having any more misplaced fund scandals in this case for the rest of the round. Now there's 3 other cards that can help you against scandals. One of them is the Media Connections card. This allows you to remove a scandal, but you must also remove one of your tabled state cards. So in this case, you would discard the Media Connections, one of the scandals, and one of your states to the discard pile. You can play that Media Connections and discard one of your protected states, but the protection also goes to the discard pile. So in this case, you would remove the Media Connections, the scandal, the state, and its protection. If you play the Spin Doctor card, you'll discard this card and all of your scandals that are tabled in front of you, and you'd place all these in the discard pile. You can also call in a favor to the President of the United States. When you play this card, it removes all of your Scandal cards, just like the Spin Doctor card did. So you discard all your Scandals and the President of the United States card to the discard pile. But in addition, you also get to draw another card and play another card. You'll continue taking turns in the clockwise manner until an election is called, ending the round. This can happen in one of two ways. If someone plays the Election Day card to the discard pile, that ends the round. Or when the last card of the election stack is taken, that player takes their turn, plays the card as normal, and then the round ends. However, if you prefer, you can remove all the Election Day cards during the setup and play a single deck game where you just play until the last card of the election stack is taken and that player plays their last turn and the round ends. Then all players are going to add up their tabled stake cards, and you're going to add up the totals of all of those cards. In this case, I have 87. Now normally the game is going to be played over multiple rounds. If you're not yet at 270 and have won the game, you will essentially write down your total count now. Now if this is one of the subsequent rounds, you'll take this round's total and you'll add it to any previous round's total. If no one's at 270, you simply shuffle all the cards back in the deck and start a whole new round as shown in the previous setup. Keeping in mind that all cards are placed back in, including the nominee or good relation cards. If at this point your total for multiple rounds is 270 or more, you win. If more than one player has over 270, whoever has the higher total will win. However, there are two cards that can negatively affect your vote total at the end of a round. One of them is the Dark Secret card. If a player holds this card in their hand at the end of the round when the election day is called, then they must get rid of their highest valued card. Now if it's tied, they simply just pick which one to remove. Now, if the card is protected, it would still be gone. So for example, let's say this card was gone and we had this. We had the Dark Secret card, this was protected. Even though it's protected, it's our highest card, it would have to get discarded. You would simply discard this as well, and then count up the rest of your total. If you're stuck with the Skeleton in the Closet card in your hand when the election day is called, you must get rid of every one of your unprotected tabled state cards. Those discarded state cards don't count for anything, so you're only going to count your protected vote totals, like here, 20. Now that you see how bad the Dark Secret and Skeleton in the Closet cards are, let's tell you how you can try to get rid of them. There's three ways. If you play a Rumors card, it goes to the discard pile. Each player then simultaneously selects a card from their hand and passes it to the player to their left. So you'll be receiving a card from the player to your right and put it in your hand secretly with the rest of your hand. All of this is done simultaneously, and you cannot look at the card that you've received before you choose which card to pass. If you play a Take a Poll card, it allows you to take cards from other players. This allows you to take a card randomly from the player to your left. You then get to secretly look at the card you took from the other player and see if you want to keep it. If you do, you add it to your hand. Now this would be up in your hand secret from everybody else. Then you can give them one of the cards secretly that you have. This is a great way to get rid of that Skeleton in the Closet card, giving it to that player. Now if you didn't want that card, you can simply give it back to that player. You'll do this for every other player. If you play a Trade Secrets card, it allows you to swap up to 3 cards with another player. So if these cards were in our hand, up to 3 we could select. So let's say we selected these 3. And again, you don't have to select all 3, just up to any 3. And we would just set these aside for just a moment. We would then select that many cards randomly from that player's hand and take them. We would add them to our secret hand, and then we would hand these cards over to that player that we had selected to give to them. That's how you play, and the first player to get to 270 or more votes wins the game. However, if you'd like to play a shorter game, you can play to a lower value that you decide before the game starts. Well, I hope this helped you dive right into Spin Doctor and get to the fun quicker than you normally would if you had to read the rulebook yourself. Now, if you have more further questions about the rules, I've placed a link below me in the description of this video, and that's the best place to ask them since I'll be notified, but so will Neddy Games.